And then the honor to have this conversation with Alfonso Cuarón. I don't have as much fancy and elaborated introduction as Talal. I will go for a more spontaneous one. When the festival asked me to moderate these conversations, of course I said yes. Then I thought, oh my God, I have only 1 week and I need to see all of Alfonso Cuarón's film. No, which is, of course, very exciting, but I thought, oh, there should be so many films because of all the recognition that he has. I've only seen Children of Man, Gravity, and Tu Mamá También. And then I said, okay, probably I will have to see other 10 or 15 films in 1 week, but I will do it because I will enjoy it. And then I checked the filmography, and I found that there aren't so many films, which is absolutely fascinating, because in very little number of films you establish yourself as one of the most acclaimed directors and one of the most fascinating directors in our current era. And also, when I looked at the films, they are so different one from the other. Of course, probably there are some common links. But the first question I had that came to my mind is, why not much more films? As a fan, I'm frustrated because I have to wait each time 6 years, 7 years for a new film. And if I was you, with the credit that you have, the talent that you have, I'll be probably shooting every year. But I'm saying this now, but probably I won't.
Wow, I often wonder why I don't do more films. And there are many answers. The short one is I'm lazy.
I'm too.
Okay, but it's not entirely true. It's just, I like life. I like the gaps in between. I love cinema, but I also love not doing cinema. You know, I love just life apart from film. And I think that's part of it. The other thing is, I guess it takes a while for me I wish I was more prolific. And I see many of my friends that are so prolific that they do one film after the other. And I admire the amazing imagination they have. Because, yes, I often think of projects, but then once that I start thinking more of them, I realize that, well, if I don't do that, it doesn't matter. Or if I don't do it, somebody else will do something better in that verge.
I read he was supposed also to do the cinematography on Rome, but you ended up doing it yourself. The result is magnificent, so that went well. What did he say to you when he watched the film about the cinematography? When the film was done?
No, he liked it a lot. He liked it. He was also, I have to say, he could not do it because he had to bail out like 2 or 3 weeks before start shooting. And I was desperate looking for another DP. And then there were cinematographers that there was an amazing cinematographer who was about to do it, but I realized that the communication was going to be in English. And I needed the communication in that film to be in Spanish because I was connecting with something very kind of primal in me. And it's Chivo who kept on pushing me. He says, you know the film so well, you know how it needs to look, you know the tools, you know everything, just do it. And he stayed through the process very supportive. You know, I would call him once in a while and said, about some technical stuff. And he would, and then later on, he was very complimentary.
Did it take time? Like managing the actors and like okay, I have to adjust something and going back and like.
The only way I can describe it, and this is real, is that the director thought that the cinematographer was too slow, and the cinematographer thought that the director was an asshole. Very much it was like that.
So you got schizophrenic during this?
It was a little bit like that, yeah.
Hello, Mr. Cuarón. I hope I'm not going to faint because I haven't eaten for a long time now. But I have a question actually comparted into, first of all, thanks for mentioning Miklós Jancsó. We both come from Hungary and it's a pleasure to hear his name. And I would like to know how important it is to be for a film director to have like knowledge of European cinema, of knowledge of Mexican cinema, or even more, to be multidisciplinary, to know art, like, paintings, literature. Because I feel a lot of Mexican imprints in your movies. Just now I saw this scene and it was like, oh, it's a bit like Garcia Marquez in some way, like magical realism. How important is for you? And then how can you combine that with that violence that you can see? And maybe it comes also from the sociological, the issues, the society issues in Mexico. So how can you combine these things? I'm sorry, maybe it was a bit...
Look, I can talk about myself. I know filmmakers that are pretty ignorant about everything and they happen to be amazing filmmakers. But I really believe that just in life, forget about film. The more that you absorb art in general, like from music, painting, and literature and art, it just enriches you so much. I find that more than film schools, for formation, I think that the thing that is priceless is history of cinema. And when I'm talking about history of cinema, is the world, because the development of cinema is a scope that happens throughout the world. And for me, it was in my formation, it was fundamental to be exposed to that cinema. Not only as a learning experience, just as a pleasure experience. I remember seeing Red Psalm for the first time, and just being aware about the act of imagination of doing that. It's like, and sadly, I don't think that people talk enough of Jancsó anymore. It's but Hungarian cinema has an incredible tradition, and also a dual tradition of directors and cinematographers, many of whom migrated. But now you have, it's so great. I mean, talking about filmmakers younger is Laszlo Nemes, and and his cinematographer Matthias. They are incredible. Like it's some of the best cinema that is happening nowadays. And the sociopolitical, again, I think is some filmmakers they could not care less about the sociopolitical aspects of things, and they do incredible films that I enjoy. I tend to connect when there's something that, and I don't think that cinema needs to be sociopolitical. I think that probably the purest form of cinema is one that is devoid of all of that. If you think of Tarkovsky, for instance, that is, it just goes into a way more metaphysical level. But again, I think it depends of the process of each filmmaker.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Alfonso Cuarón.
Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. You made this so easy. They made it even more easy.
It was fun.
It was a pleasure.
Well, thank you very much.